Hi everyone, welcome back to Copernico Isola for another episode of Designers for Lunch during Isola Design Festival. Today we have as guest Nina Salsotto from Unurgent Argilla. That is her studio, and she works with wild clay, and it's something that is really interesting me a lot. So I just want to go and welcome Nina. Ciao Nina, benvenuta.
Ciao, hello, hi everybody. Thanks for having me.
Thanks to you for taking part in this series of live talks and to know you better. Actually, like today, you are from Milan. Actually, we are from the same city, just two different neighbors, and you are from a really beautiful place. I see. Where are you?
So right now I'm in an art gallery where I'm resident at the moment. It's in Bligny 42, Bligny 42. And I'm from actually the place near Mount Bisalta, where my project for Isola is from originally. It's a really small village in the Alps. But yeah, now I'm in Milano.
Nice, very nice. So, is it possible to visit the exhibition by appointment, maybe?
Yeah, it's possible to visit the studio by appointment. I'm hoping to organize an exhibition at the end when I'll finish my art residency here. But yeah, by appointment, it's open. And it's a really nice studio.
Really
It's all made
interesting. We'll come to visit you. We'll come to visit you for sure there.
Okay.
So let's start talking about the name of your studio. That's made me really curious. From where it comes from, like Unurgent Argilla. Why did you call it like this?
Yes. So Argilla, it's because this project started in London. So I wanted to have a connection with an Italian word. So I chose Argilla instead of clay. And Unurgent, which is actually a word that doesn't exist, but because clay is it's a slow material, and pottery is a slow process. And I really like that kind of certainty that there is in a slow process. And also because politically, I think that urgency is a word that is quite abused right now. We use it in any sort of field, and it's something that, like, politically, I really don't like as a concept, and I like, the opposite thing of clay that obliges us to take things slowly and to really think them and really look at them, and everything has a time.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and I think it fits perfect actually what you do, and we'll talk a bit later about it. Now I wanted to know about your background, because you don't define yourself a designer. You're not a designer. So what is your background? Did you do specific studies or specific experiences to arrive then now to open your studio and to present your collections?
Yes. I'm not a designer because I didn't study art or design formally. I come from a completely different background. I studied economics and politics, and I worked for about 10 years in a completely different field. I worked at the UN, in the RC, and then in other places abroad, always in the international development sector. And then about 2 years ago, I had this life changed, and I felt the need of doing something, like doing something with my hands and focus myself on the making and materials. And so I took some lessons of pottery when I was in London. I've always been interested in pottery my entire life, but I never really thought that it's something that I could do myself. And then, I had this idea of wild clays and researching places through materials and through the aesthetics of materials. And then, this project started. But I don't come from a formal background in arts or design.
But that's even more interesting, because actually you come from a completely different background than a creative field. But it's nice how sometimes it's not the first case. We have also other designers actually that have completely different background, but then in the end they felt this creativity that they have to apply to something, and then they become designers without having a classic background of studies, but at the same time When you have it inside yourself, it's at a certain point of your life, it clearly goes out this need of creating your own pieces. It's really a nice story. I like when it's like this. You use wild clay, so this is also something that that is really specific in your work. But I really want to know how is the process of research? Where do you find the raw material, and how do you pick it? Like, tell us a little bit more about it.
Yes, so I usually start from maps. So either geological maps or archaeological researches. And then I actually came to discover that clay is pretty much everywhere. So either clay or rocks and minerals that you can use in ceramics. And it's not something new. It's not something that I invented, because I mean, pottery has been done with wild materials for thousands of years and across geographies and historical times. I think right now it's something that few potters do, especially like in urban settings, because if you're based in in a rural setting, it's easier to access wild materials. If you are an urban potter, it's more difficult to access, mountain clays or other sort of clays. So what I do, I start from maps, and then I research a specific area in which I know that there is some clay. I never know if I actually can use that clay. So after I go to the place and I collect it, then starts the process of testing for temperatures and testing for process, if I can use it at the wield, if it's plastic enough, what sort of porosity and what sort of use the final material reaches, if I have to mix some of them together, if I can use them completely pure, if they need some sort of washing from soluble salts or other sort of impurities. And that's what I really like about using wild clays, is that it's a continuous process of learning that you can apply to other materials, but also each one is completely unique and needs your full attention.
And it's a really long process, I guess, because if even when you find it and you pick it, maybe you're not able to use it. So from where does it depends? Like how do you choose the right one? Like, do you feel it, or it's a specific, as you said, characteristic of the clay that you find that let you know, okay, this one will become a piece.
So usually I don't know. I have a sort of feeling that comes from experience. After the 10th time that you collect a clay that is a certain texture and a sort of color and from geological maps what kind of minerals are in it, you kind of know what you can do with it. But usually it's all about the testing. So I collect materials and I collect clays and I collect rocks. And then it depends afterwards. After the testing, I'm gonna know if I can use them and in what way. But since I don't make works that are functional, so I don't make for example kitchenware, so it doesn't really matter the end result. I'm not constructing a clay material for a certain purpose. I'm discovering what it's already in the wild and then making something out of it. It doesn't need to be of certain qualities.
But the functional use actually can be found easily, as it's not just an art piece. It can be a vase. It can be used anyway. So maybe for it can't be used for clearly for food or for something that needs as specific needs. But I think that's the cool part. Like, as you said, every piece is unique. It's
there's a lot of wild clays. There are a lot of wild clays that you can. It's the same thing as commercial clays. You can still use them for example, footwear. But to produce something that then you're gonna know it's 100% safe for food, you have to test it in a lab, and so it's a completely different.
You need certification. It's another process.
Exactly.
like it's
Yeah.
another process. But have you thought about it before, like to do a collection that could be more like mass produced, or you want to stay in absolutely not? It makes no sense, like for what you do.
It doesn't. It's also completely different sort of knowledge, like hands knowledge and material knowledge. Since I don't. I mean, I discover what's already there and what I can do with it, but I don't really want to sort of like ask the material to do something for me. Like it's the other way around.
It's an interesting point of view. Like I want to. I would like to see the piece live and touch it to understand really the texture. It's something that maybe I will come to visit you for that.
Yes.
I really like these projects, and Bisalta is actually the project you are presenting for Isola Design Festival. So tell us a little bit about it. Like I want to know, where did you find the clay for that? How did you create this collection?
Yeah, so Bisalta, it's a mountain near my hometown in Cuneo, and it's where I spent the second lockdown in Italy. I didn't know that there was clay there. I was staying there like at the house of a friend. And then actually when I arrived, I discovered that the wall hill on which the house was based was made of clay. And that was a really nice discovery. So I started to collect clay until snow came. And yeah, I collected 5 different types of bodies. I found some kaolin, which goes to really high temperature. And I started to use them with rock inclusions. And yeah, I loved the feeling of like experiencing the lockdown in such a remote and isolated place, which is so good for creativity, but also especially because of the materials that were there. And I felt really connected to the place. And it was also because it was, I just came back from London. So it was a really nice way of like going back to my mountains and really feeling a connection with it.
Yes, you started from the beginning with your new, like let's say with the new yourself, like, so it's really a nice story, like, because sometimes you have to really travel a lot to understand, and in the end, like in your hometown you can find something that can make you create your new project, your new life. So it's a beautiful story, Nina, really. What's next? What's your next project? I know you told me you will take part in 1000 Mazes exhibition. Do you have any other plan for the near future?
I have an exhibition that is now starting in London on some vessels that I made with volcanic rocks. And then in terms of making, I think for a while I'm going to keep making what I'm doing now. I still have some clay from Bisalta, and I have some clays from Pantelleria. So I'm going to keep working on these geological processes for now.
Where did you get the volcanic material?
The volcanic material, so it's just a few rocks that I collected over the years on Mount Niragongo in DRC. Then there's a few from Acatenango, from Stromboli, Etna, Tenerife.
I come from a little village just next to Etna volcano, so that's why I was curious about it. It's interesting. Sorry?
You should bring me some rocks.
Absolutely, I will go there in June, I think. So if you want, I can. And right now there are so many. There is so much volcanic material, because like the villages under the volcano are covered of volcanic sand right now. So I think you can find a lot of raw material there. And no, and there are many artisans there working with that materials, but of course they are more traditional. So I'll be happy to see this project, because I like to see how that material can be used for contemporary projects, for more artistic projects. So it's really interesting. I think we can keep in touch and maybe meet in Milan and talk a little bit more. For the moment, I thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for being part of Isola Design Festival. I hope you will enjoy, and we'll see. We will meet soon, also in person, to have a beer, maybe during the next design
Yes.
week in September. Okay.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all the questions. It was really interesting.
That's my pleasure. Good luck with everything, and have a nice day. See you soon. Ciao, Nina.
You too, and see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.